What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kieran, and I try to help people using a spiritual perspective. Today, I am going to try and talk to you about manifesting. I actually hate that word. I hate the word manifesting. I'm not really sure why I hate it. It could be just the fact that it sounds so stupid. Could be. It could be that. It could be that it's very woo-woo, new agey. Okay, it could be these types of things. I'm not really sure as to why my mind rejects this term so much. I think really it just comes down to words for me. Technically, the idea of going after what we want, trying to attract things into our life, these are things that we've been doing for thousands of years, really, right? And tons of successful people today don't actually have these ideas of manifesting in their head. And yet they are very successful, right? How come, someone like Drake can be incredibly successful in his given field and basically, as far as we know, has no spiritual background, right? And basically the idea is that, well, none of these people are Instagram gurus, right? And this is where you find all this stuff. You find a lot of manifesting on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, right? And so it gets thrown around a lot. It gets thrown around a lot, especially with a lot of things like law of attraction, new age books, self-help books over the last 10 to 15 years really kind of delve deep into this manifesting. So I think the reason I don't like it is because of what it implies, what it's trying to do to people, okay? And other than take your money and my money and everybody's money, it's insincere in its approach. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about what they're not telling you about manifestation, what they're not telling you about the actual process of what it takes to go after what you want. So let's just say that manifesting is, for the sake of argument, the process of trying to get what it is that you want, right? I mean, that's the most basic definition. I'm trying to manifest a new boat, right? So you're trying to go through some sort of steps in order to get a boat. And apparently you need to buy somebody's ebook or sign up for some coaching because there's some hidden secrets to manifesting that you just don't know, even though for years and years people have been able to buy boats. But you need to know how to manifest a boat, right? So there's already this shift into not teaching you how to basically get what you want, but trying to reframe it into something spiritual, because then they can sell you money. Otherwise, they would just tell you, the basic principles and getting what you want. And so I've noticed, as somebody who has, had experience with these stuff on positive and negative ends, I've noticed a lot of, false information around this stuff. So I've sort of compiled a list here of 5 different things that I think that people just aren't telling you about manifestation. So I'm hoping that it will help you actually understand what it means to manifest and maybe how to actually do it successfully rather than just what you think you're supposed to be doing, right? So I've already mentioned that, how come somebody like Drake or, anybody could have been, get into a position of getting what they want without relying on these spiritual tools. Now, why is that? Does the whole world need to know about manifesting, or is people perfectly all right on their own without this even word floating around their head? Well, the thing it comes down to, and just the first one I'll just get right into, is intention is everything, okay? As is the ability to speak sentences properly. But intention is more important than the goal you are trying to achieve, okay? So essentially, it's more important than the manifestation. All right, so if you have a manifestation, something you're trying to manifest, let's say it's an X, okay? And your intention is to manifest this X back into your life just to have sex with them, and then leave them again just to get some sort of revenge sex going on. Very hot kind of foreplay, very hot to think about, but maybe not really great, or maybe you have an intention to start something, but it's misguided. Even if it's not so bad, it might even be something you could perceive to be innocent. Maybe you have an intention to start a business, okay? That seems like a pretty good idea. But what if what you're trying to manifest there isn't the business? Maybe that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Maybe people have just told you that this is what you should be doing, or this is what you'd like to do. So you're trying to manifest something that isn't for you, right? So your intention is more important ultimately than what it is you're trying to manifest. Because so many times you'll actually experience, a failure, so to speak, manifesting, because what you're trying to manifest fundamentally is not in alignment with your true intention, right? So trying to get an ex back, or trying to get somebody into your life, trying to manifest things from a place of insecurity, from a place of fear, from a place of ego. Okay, so fundamentally, you can't just like say, well, I'm going to manifest X, Y, and Z when your intentions aren't really pure, when they're not in alignment, when there's sort of this egoic manipulation going on, even if you're not necessarily aware of it, because I don't want it to seem like you're this terrible, evil person who's trying to manifest things like some sort of dark wizard, right? Like you're some sort of Sith from Star Wars or something like that. But people do make this mistake, is they'll constantly try to manifest things, focusing on the outcome, focusing on what it is they're trying to achieve, rather than really why they're trying to get it at all. And this is, basically the hook of it all, is that it presents this manifestation, this thing you're trying to get, as some golden egg that you can definitely get as long as you try hard, right? And that sort of leads me into the second point here, which is that thinking positively all the time doesn't actually guarantee anything. It doesn't really have anything to do with your success at all. I have plenty of times thought negatively about things that I wanted, and I have gotten them. I have also not gotten them, right? I've also, done the complete opposite, been positive about things that I really wanted, and they didn't happen, and sometimes they also did. In my experience, it's more often than not going to be, sort of 70-30. So basically what I guess I would mean that is that if, 70% of the time I'm positive about something, it almost doesn't come true, because you have to have that intention in the right place, right? A lot of the times I just, it just doesn't happen. And there you're told that the more positive you think, the better it will, you'll have the better chance of success, that it will come true. You just have to think more positively. Well, anybody with any sense of objectivity, or anybody who's experienced the failures of this process, can tell you that it just doesn't work like that. Your thoughts don't have as much energy as you think they do. Okay, they have very little energy, actually. And just thinking positively is obviously this way that these people are able to make you pay for their services. Okay, and this is a very obvious thing, because if it's not working, then the response is from them is then going to be, well, just be more positive. Just, believe it more. Just think about it more. Just, and it's like you have to be more positive about your manifestation in order for it to work. No discussion is had about, well, maybe the intention is wrong. Maybe what you want isn't good for you. Maybe, X, Y, and Z. There's lots of different factors, right? Maybe, we should discuss the emotions behind it, right? Rather than just the manifestation itself. Because if you're trying to manifest something, then why are you trying to manifest that thing? Are you trying to have a mansion just so that you could fill the void in your life? Because then if you know that deep down, then your manifestation will almost constantly be blocked, right? So your thoughts won't really matter. Your emotions are infinitely more important than your thoughts. And this definitely leads me into point number 3, which is that nothing matters if you don't take action, right? So if you don't take action towards your goals, you can't manifest anything. Little things, sure, but you even have to take an action to get there. Say if you want to manifest a parking spot right up front of a grocery store, and this is sort of in line with law of attraction stuff. Okay, fairly easy to do, and it happens quite a bit. But it also happens when you're not actively trying to manifest it, which is pretty much ultimately my point. Do you know how many times in my life I have been able to manifest, right, a parking space in front without actually ever worrying about trying to manifest it, without actually even trying to think about it, without even putting myself in a position at some point in time where I think, you know what, I'm going to start trying to get myself a parking space up in front, see if I can do that. How many times I've gotten parking spaces without ever having to fill my head with any of this stuff, just because I wasn't involved with it mentally, right? So obviously your thoughts don't matter, it's your action. So yeah, you even have to drive to the place to get it. So there's already an action, right? You're taking an action to get there. Your thoughts doesn't really matter. You can think that you're not going to get one, and then you do, right? I mean, how many times have you thought that something wasn't going to happen? Like, it's been very busy, and you think, oh man, I'm never going to get out of here. I'm never going to find a parking space. And then you do. You know what I mean? what was the exact? Was that because you thought negatively? Was it because you got lucky? So many things you could probably say about it, but nothing can happen without your action. So if you're trying to manifest this really great maybe job, right? So something a little bit more bigger here, you can't really get that until you really work out why it is you want that job. So what your intention is, basically the process behind manifestation, where you're coming from, basically. And then if you don't take action towards that, like if you want to be a famous writer, well, then you have to write a book. You have to do something, right? And then once you write a book, you have to do other things after that. I finished a book recently, and let me tell you, there's a lot of shit that needs to be done with getting a book published for the first time. I've technically had a book published before, but I had help, and I don't have that help anymore. So this is really my first time taking it all on myself, and it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. Luckily, I know some good people that are helping me, but I had to go search out that information. I had to make these connections. I had to take action, right? It didn't matter what I think, because sometimes I think, oh, this shit isn't going to work out. But I get up the next day and I say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just do this thing. Like it doesn't matter what I think. I know what I want. It doesn't matter what I think. I know what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to try my best. And so, recently I did like a query letter. I think it's query. Quarry is what you throw stones into. But a query letter, which is basically just a letter to an editor or publisher letting them know what your book is about, that kind of stuff, right? So I had to write that. It's not good enough just to say, I want something to happen, I want something to happen. You have to take action, right? So the fourth point would be, of course, you don't always get what you want. Right? Again, going back to that parking space, sometimes you get that parking space up front and other times you don't. If you're trying to manifest an X back into your life, and then you manage to do that, and if maybe of course it falls apart or something like that, but which is obvious, so then that it doesn't work anymore, and other times you're able to other times you don't manifest them back into your life is what I'm trying to say. So what does that come down to? You know what I mean? There's little different factors in there. I remember in my own life, and this was before I really knew any of this stuff, I would just sort of just wish it, really, just wishing. I just wished my ex would come back. It was a year later, and she was, pretty narcissistic. So in hindsight, there's really no reason I should have done that. But I really just wanted her. And that whole time that I wanted her, she, of course, never came back. And then maybe like a year and a half later, she did come back to my life for about a month, 2 months, and, everything that you could possibly imagine basically happened. And so, there's a little bird eating a muffin out there. It's pretty cute guy. So you can imagine what happened, right? And then other times I've really wanted people back in my life who weren't even narcissistic, who didn't have this totally negative effect on me. Emotionally in different ways like that, and it just never happened. Could never get them back in. You know what I mean? And again, it comes back down to a couple of these things that I've talked to, but also you don't always get what you want. It really does come down to that, because it's either you're not supposed to, or maybe you shouldn't. Because if everybody could get everything that they ever wanted, I don't know if the world would be in a better place, because I don't think we would be. So this idea that you can manifest anything you want is it's just like this thing that can be sold to you. Because if there's an idea that says, hey, you can get anything you want, and all you have to do is think positively about it, and just keep thinking positively about it, then who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want that as an easy shortcut to their desires and their dreams? But again, your desires and your dreams change over time. There's something we have to remember about this sort of manifestation process is everybody's coming from a different place. I mean, this stuff is taught to people as if like we're all the same, as if we all work the same, as if we have the same thoughts, the same beliefs, the same opinions, right? Like you can't just give somebody a book that says, oh, this is how you manifest, or share some ebook or some self-promotional, self-proclaimed guru on Instagram telling you all this crap, and it's just going to apply, because it's not that easy. We all come from different backgrounds. I'm a straight white male. That's a pretty good deal. I'm not hideous. I have nice hair. I don't know, maybe. I guess what I'm trying to say is I have things that I'm physically grateful for, things that I have that I think this color of my skin gives me some advantage, the fact that I'm a male, the fact that I'm basically not a minority in some kind of way. Right, there's other things that block me though, because you can put me between somebody who's maybe a gay black female from, let's say, from a whole totally different country, let's say an impoverished country from maybe Nigeria, and she comes over here to maybe live a better life, right? And she, on the other hand, just sees everything as an opportunity over here. And so she doesn't have any emotional blocks. She's totally free. And she's able to like create this new life for herself. Whereas me, on the other hand, take everything for granted, and I do have these emotional blocks. So her process of manifestation is easier for her, not because manifestation is just inherently true, but because she doesn't have these blocks, because she's clear about herself, okay? So all these backgrounds really matter to things. Your conditioned behavior, your responses, your background, your income, what country you're from, your opportunities around you, where you're at in your life, the difficulties, things could be happening in your life. I mean, are you supposed to be manifesting positively in the best kind of way if your parents just died? I mean, there's different factors. We all can't just assume that we're going to get whatever we want the easy way just because somebody on Instagram said so. They're just taking people's money, and it's an easy way to do it. It's a very easy way to do it because it's been going on for years and years and years and years, even before all of these words around manifestation, which again kind of ties back to why I don't really like the word. It's just reworked crap. People were telling this stuff in the 70s and the 80s, 60s, 50s, all the way to Napoleon Hill. Since the birth of self-help books, people have been saying, like, if you do these things and just do them really hard, then you'll get what you want. But it's this bootstrap mentality that the harder you work, the better chance of success. But that's not true at all. And that leads me into my fifth point here, which is basically your intuition is really what's going to lead you towards this path, your success, your goals, right? So intuition, okay, we'll do it like an equation. Intuition over energy plus time equals success, okay? So intuition over energy plus time equals success. So what that means is you listen to your intuition to see what it is that you want, right? What it is that your soul, your higher self is trying to tell you. Where are you being led to? Because then your manifestation is more likely to come true. Basically getting clear about what you want. What do you want on a deep level? And what do you need? Because it's not just good enough to say, well, I want, I want a boat, or I want, I want a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or, you want a new car. Like, those are all material or like personal, and those are fine. But maybe there are deeper things than that. Like, for instance, like, what do you want out of your existence here? How would you like to feel? How would you like to act? How would you like to think? Or what were the things that you'd like to do? These are deeper things that require your intuition. It requires you getting in touch with yourself. And once you do, and even in that process, it requires energy. So your intuition, which is getting in touch with what you want and who you really are, and then energy, which is your action. So you combine that with your action, so the steps that you're taking to meet those things, and then you have to add time. Because, like it or not, we can definitely argue that the 3D moves slowly, but that is definitely the way that it is. Like it or not, things do take time. And certain things can happen quicker, and other things not so much. It's much easier in time, in the space of time, to find $1 laying around, maybe on the street, than it is to find $1,000 laying on the street. It doesn't really matter how much you try to manifest finding $1,000. It's always going to be easier to find $1. Always. Doesn't mean it's impossible. It's just always going to be easier. And so if you're trying to manifest $1,000, well, the idea that it can just pop into your life, it isn't so much stupid as it is irresponsible. Because again, you're not relying on your own energy anymore, nor are you relying on your intuition. Because oftentimes, you could probably make $1,000, but doing something that maybe you've always wanted to do rather than keep working at some 9 to 5, right? So it's like the blessings and stuff, the manifestations usually come in when we're clear about our intuition and we're taking actions towards that intuition, which again, very much in alignment with our intentions. And then the time, and then that will equal success. And it's why successful people are successful. They don't really have to have the same belief set. They don't have to believe in spirituality. They don't have to have New Age thinking. They don't have to have this understanding of manifestation or any of this crap. They basically just go out and do what it is they want. And a lot of them aren't any happier for it. A lot of them seem like they're living pretty miserable lives, and they have a lot more money and fame than I do. And maybe I ever will, you know? And some of them are genuinely happy. And it's not to say that everybody who's famous and rich is unhappy, you know? It just really depends on how they got there and who they were while they were getting there. And that's just more important, I think, than trying to manifest. So it's like it's taught to us, this idea of manifestation. Sorry, I almost died, I guess. It's taught to us as if it's the most important thing. Like just this end goal of trying to manifest, trying to get things. And because obviously they can make money doing that. Obviously. If I sat here and just had a channel or an Instagram page just about just taking advantage of people's insecurities, I could totally make money off of that. I could totally do that. But I'm not going to, because I'm not an asshole. Or I might be an asshole, but I'm not cruel. I'm not like a narcissist. I'm not manipulative, you know. I can be a dick, but I'm not manipulative. So that would be wrong, you know, to try and get people like that, because I could, because it preys on people's insecurities. You know, you don't feel secure with who you are, what you look like, what you have, where you're at in your life. And so here's the shortcut to getting everything that you want. Also, just pay me money. You know, you don't need to do any of that. So all the process of manifestation, it's just too much. It's overcomplicated. You don't need any of it. And these are just like 5 things that I've noticed, you know, talking about how we've all come from different places, right? What's up, guy? How you doing? I would move the camera and show you if I could, but I don't really think you guys care too much. But he's having a good time. Little bird and that muffin over there. You know, so anyway, back to the video. It's overcomplicated stuff. You don't really need to do any of these. These 5 things I've noticed. You know, obviously you can definitely get what you want. You can definitely go after things with gusto, with force, with passion. And you can definitely make a good run at it. But you have to know what you want. You have to understand yourself on some intuitive level about what's good for you, about what isn't good for you. And the more spiritually aware that you are, the less manifesting works in these ways, I mean. Because the more aware you are of basically like, I'm like trying to manifest something that isn't good for me. Like you become more aware that the more you grow as a person spiritually. So it becomes harder to actually manifest. Like at the beginning of my spiritual awakening, this stuff was really easy actually. Right? The idea was really easy. I didn't really resist it. But after time, it worked at the beginning, and then it just didn't work anymore. It was just stupid. And I just started to keep growing and growing and growing, and it just became, I just started to notice all of these things over time. And then my real success came when I just listened to myself, intuition, took action, energy, plus time, patience, and then that was the success. And that's how it works. I mean, it's not a shortcut, though, so nobody really wants to hear that. But that is, I think, the truth of the matter. I mean, some people, and there's luck. Luck is a whole different thing. Luck is a topic for a different day. I don't know if you believe in luck. Certainly you can, some people say you create your own luck, things like that. I think there's a little bit of a mix of both, because I've definitely gotten lucky in my life, no hands down. No hands down, that's not an expression. No questions asked is probably what I meant to say. No hands down is something, I don't know who you would say that to. Presumably not a person without arms. Okay, so that's the video for today. I hope it helped you guys. You know, again, this is just how I've seen it. I don't want to see people being taken advantage of. I was taken advantage of, so I just try to help you guys out in a way that maybe you could take some of this and apply it to your own life. But obviously, you know, take what resonates. All right, guys. Hopefully you guys have a good Friday. It's a Friday. Have a good Friday, guys. See you soon.